here tonight to talk about narratives and storytelling for entrepreneurs.
I think the story is the essential element to a pitch, and pitches are usually the way you convince other people to either invest in your idea or join the company to work on the idea. And it's really difficult to sort of get people to buy into it if your story isn't on point. I think it's not an innate skill for a lot of people to tell your story, because especially when you're working in the sort of nitty-gritty nuts and bolts of it, it's sort of tough to sort of step back from it and say, why are we developing this? Like, why are we doing it? What problem are we actually solving? And I think that's sort of why I came to sort of get some tips and tricks on how to do that.
I guess a story is what hooks people. I mean, if you can't tell a story and you can't get people to relate to you, you're not going to have any, rapport or a way to really share your feelings and get them hooked onto not just your life, but your background and experiences.
Brevity and being able to explain your idea concisely are critical to any business venture. If you can't express your idea in a short, succinct way, then you haven't done enough homework or enough work on what you're trying to solve.
So the way I look at it, a story is the same thing as a strategy for an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur has to know who their customer is. They have to know what problem they're trying to solve for their customer. And if they don't know those things, how can they build the right solution to solve that problem? So getting that story straight is essential for any entrepreneur if they're going to be successful.
Got a little competition now. You're gonna find it hard to cope with living on your own.
It's absolutely necessary, because at the end of the day we are all salespeople. We want to sell our story if we are looking for customers, if we are looking for founders, if you're looking for money. So at the end of the day, whatever you want to do, you're trying to sell your story.
So I think the audience for this is anybody who has an idea, a new idea, any kind of innovation that they're trying to make happen. It's not just people who are trying to build products or build services. It could be somebody in an organization who's trying to do something new for the first time. It could be someone in a nonprofit who's trying to make something happen that's never happened before. What this is about helping people who have an idea that they want to see happen and something that's new and different, and figure out sort of how to build the right foundation for that, and then how to communicate it to others to make it happen.
Who is the main character in this story? Woody, right? For those who haven't seen this movie, by the way, it's great. If you haven't seen it, you gotta get this. Is Woody, and that's Buzz, right? So they're the main characters. Woody is the protagonist of the story. And although they are not people, we relate to them as people because it's such a well-made movie. What do they live for? What do these toys live for? What's their motivation? What was that? Be played with, right? That's what they live for. They need a kid to play with. And what happens at the beginning of the movie with this terrible problem? What is it? What?
Abandoned.
What?
Abandoned.
They're being abandoned. Why are they being abandoned? What happened in the story? Andy's going to college, right? It's an incredibly traumatic event. The guy that's played with him for 18 years is going off to college. Who's going to play with him? It's such a big problem. It's such a big conflict that as viewers, as an audience, we somehow relate to these characters and we sort of imagine we're them and we want to find out what's going to happen to them. And we hang in there for the whole film through all the trials and tribulations as they try and get to where they want to go. That's how you start a great story with a great big problem.
The presentation was absolutely amazing. I loved it, and I have learned how important it is to relate, or to find your customer and to be able to relate to this customer. It's a personal story, to be able to convince how your service or your product will be successful and what kind of problem it solves. So first of all, you need to have a story, you need to have a plot, you need to have a conflict that you need to solve, and then show how you're going to solve the problem.
So the main things you have to do if you want to get your story straight is you have to make sure first and foremost you know who your customer is. And that takes some work and some exploration. Sometimes you have to start with a hypothesis, and then you have to get to know the customer, and you have to dig for lots of really great questions to understand your customer intimately. Because from my experience, the best products have been those that have been based on solving some really deep-seated problem for a customer. Then you need to really crisply define the problem. That's the third thing you have to do. And once you've defined the problem really well, then you can go off and try and solve it. the most important thing is to build a great product. So I listed it fourth, but it's really the most important thing is you have to build a great product that solves the problem or come up with a great service that solves the problem. And I think if you do those things, you're going to be in great shape. All the things about raising money and dealing in how do we get to market and all those other kinds of things that you absolutely have to do as a business, you can't do if you don't do those first 4 steps because you haven't built anything useful. The best advice to give anybody who's starting out something new is work on something you're really passionate about. Because I guarantee you as an entrepreneur, you're going to run into a brick wall that you're going to think there's just no way to get through. And somehow, if you're that kind of person who's really passionate about the idea, you'll find a way over that brick wall. And you know what you're going to see? Another brick wall. So you're going to need that incredible passion and desire to solve this problem, to work on this thing, to be able to keep making it through these brick walls. So find your passion. If it's something you're passionate about, go for it.
Took a little time to make a little better. It's only going